order for GPA differences to affect either of these, they have to be substantial. They can't be small, right? So there is a difference between this and GPA and achieving jobs and happiness. There probably isn't much of a difference if we're talking about small things. So, and incidentally, the things that you see that are happiness are less tied to any sort of performance in anything, actually. Turns out the world's happiest people, I think, are the Danish. One of these countries in the middle of Europe. And one of the reasons I think 60 Minutes did a kind of a piece on why the Danish people are so happy. And one of the things they found was that Danish people were okay with not being the best at something. And that if you insist on being the best at something, and you only be happy if you're going to be the best at something, and there's 1,000 people that do that, then one person's happy and 999 people aren't happy. And so this is actually something really interesting in their culture, is that their culture actually encourages you not to care about being the best. And that in fact makes their people happier. Which I thought was kind of fascinating, it was kind of interesting. It was a bizarre way of thinking, because in the United States, everybody wants you to be the best no matter what it is you're doing. So it's a different sort of, attitude, I guess. So I have a little small state case study, very small, and it's very nice, but there's a point to it. So I happen to go to MIT undergrad, and so here's a list of people I happen to land. I landed 3.6 GPA in high school. Not super high. A lot of people had higher GPAs than me. There's a friend of mine at MIT who had a 2.9 GPA, and he was there. And I'm friends with the college admissions officer at Duke, and she and I talk every now and then. And she was really excited about finding a student that scored in between 900 and 1,000 on the SAT. But that student actually got into both Duke and MIT and went to MIT, and she was like heartbroken that he didn't go to Duke. So there are some people that went to MIT, and here's some people who didn't get into MIT. 75% of high school valedictorians. A majority of people who have a 1,600 on their SAT. And actually, one of my high school students, I had a high school student who had both a 1,600 on his SAT and was the valedictorian at Winter Park High in 2002. And I wrote him what I thought was an awesome recommendation letter, but apparently it wasn't awesome enough. so there's a little lack in my writing skills, perhaps. But anyway, so this is really bizarre. You look at this and you're like, that's really strange. So there's some takeaway points from this, and I obviously cherry pick things. I very well cherry pick things from like the worst possible end and the best possible end intentionally, right? So it's not like a fair comparison, but there's a point I want to draw. GPA is more important for college admission than any other thing, right? So if I'm picking college students, I care more about GPA than anyone else does, right? Because college is the same thing as high school, doing classes, the same sort of skills, right? So GPA should be a good indicator of how someone's going to do in college. So I should want to favor using GPA as an indicator for choosing students, right? Yet, my whole point in picking that example is that this is where GPA is supposed to be the strongest correlator, as I said. And obviously, even in this arena, there are many exceptions to be found, right? So it's not even in the arena where it's supposed to be as close a correlation as possible. You still find all these really bizarre cases, okay? And employers care far less about GPA than undergraduate colleges do, right? College admission cares much more about GPA than your employer does. Your employer cares that you'll listen to your boss and that you'll get whatever job done that they want you to get done. And those are largely the things your employer cares about. Right? I actually also, one other random thing, would not be surprised if people who obsessively care about points on their tests are definitively less happy than the rest of us, right? Because if you're always frustrated about something, I don't know, I have a few friends that I call them cranky old men, is what I call them. And they're always like frustrated about something, something's wrong, they're always mad about something. And they don't smile a lot, they don't tend to be happy. And I feel like if you're always caring about a lot of things, then maybe you might be a little bit less happy. And incidentally, if GPA were how people did hiring, I would not be in front of you guys. My college GPA was probably the lowest of the 62 professors in our departments. I'm pretty sure. I had a 3.3 in college. And I'm pretty sure that every single other person in our department has a higher GPA than I did when they were in college. So I would definitely be the worst person, and I probably never would have gotten the opportunity to be in front of you guys if GPAs were actually connected to jobs. I will tell you that much. And incidentally, if they were, GPAs were connected to what you were supposed to teach. If you had to break my GPA into subsections, my lowest subsection is computer science. Yeah. The only C's I got in any college classes were all computer science classes. So all non-computer science classes I got B's or higher. And all my C's were in computer science classes. Guess what sub-area I had the highest GPA? Math? No. Close though. No. No one's ever going to guess it, I guess. Philosophy? Nope. All right. You guys want me to tell you?
Yes.
You guys are going to laugh really hard. There's only one subcategory I had all A's in, and it's women's studies. But hopefully you guys are glad I'm not teaching women's studies.
Yep.
And hopefully you're glad that I'm teaching what my worst GPA was in MS. So that's just kind of random. I'm sure that's probably not true of most computer science majors. That happened to be my case in my grades. Not a great indicator of what I'm actually good at teaching, I think. Okay. So why did I make this presentation? A bunch of you complained about the Hillside question and the modular explanation question. You were upset because I told you they weren't going to be on the test. And I forgot because I had so much other stuff going on in my life. Okay. So the truth is, both questions are doable based on what I taught in class. And in real life, I've actually had this happen to me all the time, where someone tells me don't do something, and then I have to do something. And so if I throw the questions out automatically, it's kind of like saying, hey, you don't like something, complain, and that'll always get you through life. It's also kind of like saying, hey, I care to get good evaluations. Teachers who just automatically do what their students say, they just want to get good evaluations. Just so you know, they don't really care. So a couple other things. This is kind of loosely connected, loosely not. But the point being that if you're prepared for more than the minimum of what people ask you, good things happen. Seneca, who's a Roman philosopher, said, this is one of my favorite quotes, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. So basically what that's saying is, a lot of times we tend to say that so-and-so is lucky, or luck occurred here, but a lot of times in order to get like a really good job, or something like that, you do need luck. But what that luck really is you get some random chance to put you in a situation, and you have to be prepared to make use of that opportunity. And then of course, the Boy Scout motto, be prepared. Right? So if you only do the minimum of what people ask you, it's rare that you'll be able to capitalize on unpredictable opportunities that might come your way. So this is kind of funny. This is a story that I've known for years, or I thought I knew for years. And how many people know who Lou Gehrig is? Okay, that's good. That's good. All right, that's 30%. Lou Gehrig, he has a disease named after him. What's that? Did I? Yeah. Can you add it? Let's see here. Yeah. 1915 is what I was meant to say.
He came back in time.
17,000 years in the future. This is supposed to be 1915. Hopefully you guys figure that out. So Lou Gehrig is one of the most famous first basemen in Major League Baseball history. He played for the Yankees. He was known for having a consecutive game streak. He played 2,130 games without missing regular season game. And that streak lasted from the 30s through probably, I think it was the 1990s, when Cal Ripken Jr. broke it for the Orioles. Anyway, so the story about how Gehrig got his job, I had always thought the story was that the current first baseman, Wally Pipp, was sick. Right? He's like, oh, I'm sick. So he sat out that day. There are a lot of baseball games, so, sit out a day. And then Gehrig subbed in at first base, and then basically played so well that Pipp never got his job back. So I decided to go on Snopes.com today while I was preparing this. So it turns out, it's really fascinating. So it's something that even happened in the 20th century. And it's a story, it's a very common story. If you look a lot of places, you'll see it, that Pipp was sick, Gehrig took over that one day, and then all of a sudden, Gehrig, played first base for the next 14 years. Never missed a game, right? So poor Wally Pipp, right? He probably shouldn't have called in sick that day. Right? Maybe history would have been different if that had happened. So it's interesting. I looked this up on Snopes, and someone tried to research this. And what they found was that it's really strange back then. People back then were really tough, right? Like to sit out just because you had a headache just kind of seems like a really bizarre story, right? Because most of these guys were really tough, right? And pro athletes, they don't want to be, sissy. So that's what the Snopes author said. Well, that's what I thought was really after the occurrence that he didn't trust what was written, right? If I'm trying to remember something that happened 15 years ago, like some story from my fraternity, I'm probably going to make something up that's not really true, right? Or I'll at the very least like forget some details. So he found some printed material that actually said he didn't have a headache, but he had fractured his skull in batting practice, right? And then there was documentation for that. But when he went to track down the documentation, it said July 2nd was the day he fractured his skull and was in the hospital. But June 2nd was the day that Lou Gehrig first played first base for the Yankees, subbing in, right? And so then he's like, wait a second, this is off by a month, right? So like, it would have made sense that he sat out of the game because he had a fractured skull and was in the hospital. But that happened on July 2nd, 1925, not June 2nd, 1925, which is when Lou Gehrig played first. That's that famous day that Lou Gehrig played first base, right? So that story doesn't hold up. And then, in fact, in an interview in 1950, Wally Pipp claimed that he was in the hospital, but he himself misremembered what actually happened. So finally, the guy tracked down a New York Times article on June 3rd, 1925, and it actually explained the reasoning that the Yankees were doing so bad. Babe Ruth was sick, and since Babe Ruth was sick, he didn't play, and then when he started playing again, he sucked. And then other players that were supposed to be good for the Yankees were playing but poorly. And they were in 7th place instead of 1st place. Well, since they were doing so bad, the manager was like, well, what's the point in starting our good players? Let's just like randomly pick younger players to play and see how they do. So the truth is that Wally Pipp was actually just benched. So the Yankees were playing poorly, and so the manager just benched Wally Pipp and said, hey, Lou Gehrig, you're only 22 years old. Go ahead, give it a shot, right? So the headache story is not true. That's what Snopes debunked the headache story. And I had always thought the headache story was, because I had known the story for a long time. But it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of fun to research that and find that. So the real story is a little bit more boring. He just got benched because the Yankees were doing really bad. The manager just wanted to have different players start. So anyway, what ended up happening was he just got benched one random day, but Gehrig played so well that Pipp never got his job back, right? And so this is kind of fascinating because if Gehrig wasn't prepared for that random opportunity, Gehrig didn't know that was going to happen. It was just very random, right? He definitely made the most of that opportunity. Like he just got that one shot. Kind of did what Jeremy Lin finally did, but then Jeremy Lin kind of came back to it. Any basketball fans in here? Yeah. Okay. All right. Hopefully that reference was like completely lost on everybody. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'll compare the average grades on those two questions to the average grades on the corresponding questions in the other two sections of the class, because the questions were similar. If the average of your class is 95% or higher than the class average of the other two sections, I'll keep it. Otherwise, I'll drop one question. Right. So obviously, if your guys' average on those questions is the same as the other classes, then whatever I said didn't actually affect how you did. Right. Which is often the case. I would imagine that I could probably not do the exam review, and it would probably actually not affect people's grades very much, is my guess. But I'm going to go ahead and we're going to run those averages. So I'm going to have my TAs do columns for every question, and then I'll get the averages, and then we'll run those. I'll run those correlations, and then if you guys are really bad on those questions compared to my dad's section, I'll drop them. This was well. Anyway, all right. Hopefully that wasn't a waste of time. I hope that a few of you learned something from that. That was the goal. I actually do think I do care about my job a lot, and I do think that part of my job is to try to teach some ideas that are beyond what usually gets taught in the course. So, and I'm really awful at making PowerPoints. I was in this seminar this summer, and they always make fun of my awful PowerPoints. Yeah.
So do you know what that is for this class?
Oh no, we haven't started grading. Oh. So my dad's section isn't graded yet, so that's how I talked to him before he started grading his, so that we're going to do the whole spreadsheet. So, but yeah, so we should have them graded by next month.